Hi, everybody. This is Jimmy DeYoung with Prophecy Today video. In just a moment, I'm going to be talking about the Jewish holy days of Hanukkah. 8 days when the Jewish people light 8 candles, 1 candle each day, commemorating the victory over a madman who desecrated the temple in 168 BC. But it has a prophetic significance as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. But on my national radio broadcast, the call-in talk program, Prophecy Today, this last weekend we talked with our broadcast partners across the countryside who helped us to understand what is happening in certain parts of the world. Colonel Bob McGinnis covered geopolitical activities. He touched base with President Obama's quick and secret trip to Afghanistan. Also, we talked about WikiLeaks. David Dolan gave us our Middle East news update, and he talked about WikiLeaks and how Prime Minister Netanyahu thinks it's a positive. And then David Wilder in Hebron. Hebron is the oldest Jewish community in the history of the world. The Speaker of the Israeli Knesset, Reuven Rivlin, was there to help them begin Hanukkah. He lit the first candle of the 8. But then he talked about how important Hebron is to the survival of the city of Jerusalem. You don't want to miss that conversation, nor the one with Dr. Rob Congdon. He just returned from Europe. He talked about this first year for the Lisbon Treaty being in place. It survived the storms of this first year. Will it survive? Will it keep the European Union as a power player in our world today? Now, each and every one of these conversations will be at our website, prophecytoday.com. You go to PTRN and you can listen to all of them. You might want to pass them along to a friend. This will help you understand geopolitical activities as they are setting the stage for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. Oh, by the way, we did have a conversation with Mike Zovat. He is the Vice President of Answers in Genesis. He's in charge of special projects, and he talked about Noah's Ark. No, not the one they're looking for on Mount Ararat in Turkey, but the one they're going to build just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. You don't want to miss that conversation. It's an update on things that are happening in our world that you need to know about. But I want to tell you my conversation with Steve Herzig, and please go to prophecytoday.com, PTRN, and listen to Steve's description of Hanukkah. It's the best I've ever heard. Steve is the National Director for Friends of Israel. He did an excellent job. Again, you can listen to Steve's description of Hanukkah at PTRN, Prophecy Today Radio Network. You know, Hanukkah, the Jewish celebration of such, is a reminder of fulfilled prophecy as well as a prophetic scenario that's yet to be fulfilled. Take a moment and think about this with me. As Jewish people around the world celebrate the 8-day Feast of Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, they do so to remember the desecration of the Jewish temple by the Grecian madman Antiochus Epiphanes. This happened in 168 BC, and the reconsecration of that same temple 3 years later in 165 BC. The temple having been restored to its purity, the Maccabees took a flask of virgin olive oil that they found in the rubble of the temple, and they lighted the 7-branched candelabra, the menorah, in the temple, which should have stayed lighted just for 1 day, but it gave forth its light for 8 days. As these Jewish people around the world light their candles, there are 8 of them, they do 1 for each day of the Feast of Hanukkah, they recall the abomination of desolation, which the prophet Daniel foretold in his prophecy, located in Daniel chapter 11, verses 20 to 35. And this prophecy was given some 360 years before the actual event did take place, proving that Bible prophecy is accurate, on target, and will be fulfilled. This prophecy in Daniel has, by the way, what is referred to as a double fulfillment. In other words, there was a prophecy that was fulfilled in 168 BC, but there is a prophecy about the abomination of desolation that will be fulfilled in the future. There is going to be another time when the Jewish temple will be desecrated. Yes, that's right. It's called the abomination of desolation. It's spoken of by Jesus Christ when he referred to Daniel's prophecy in his Olivet Discourse, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 15. He said, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, flee. In order for this prophecy of Jesus Christ and the prophecy of the ancient Jewish prophet Daniel to be fulfilled, there must be a temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Now, I know there is not a temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem right now. It has to be built. But may I say this, all preparations have been made for the next temple to be built in Jerusalem. There are Jewish men who have been in training, a training program to serve as priests at the temple. 28,000 priests are needed to operate the temple. These Jewish men must be from the tribe of Levi. They claim to be from the tribe of Levi, and they are studying the priestly duties. The implements for operation of the temple, they are made and they are waiting, stored to be used in that temple that stands. The mizrach, which is what you put the sacrificial blood in, made out of pure gold or pure silver. They have 4,000 of them. The table of showbread, the menorah, 100 pounds of pure gold to make the menorah. It's on display in the Western Wall Plaza. I was just there the other day. That is exciting to me. All the implements have been made. The Sanhedrin, the 70 wise Jewish scholars, must be in place to manage the operation of the temple. I talked recently with Rabbi Nachman Kahana. He is the head, or was the head, of the Sanhedrin. He verifies they are in place and ready to go. Even the priestly garments are actually hanging in the closets of many of the men who are priests, ready to be worn in their service at the temple. Nachman Kahana told me his is right there in his closet. He doesn't mess with it. It's ready to put on and go to the temple complex to operate the temple. I want to tell you something, my dear friend. Hanukkah looks back to the past and the abomination of desolation. Hanukkah looks to the future as well for a future abomination of desolation. That temple has to be up, and all the preparations have been made for that temple to be built on the Temple Mount in the city of Jerusalem. There's only one thing that must happen before they start construction of that temple. The Bible says the rapture must take place. That's when Jesus calls Christians out of this world to be with him in the heavenlies. Jesus shouts, archangel shouts, trumpet of God sounds, and we leave to go to the heavenlies to be with Jesus. Then all the activities take place, including the building of the temple. Hey, having said this, nothing left for me to say is let's keep looking up. Jesus is coming. Could be today.